There I am, Friday, January 23rd. I just got done with the final day of my 2-year streaming anniversary on Twitch. I ate dinner not that long ago. I'm watching Whiskey Dingo stream. I'm in a pretty good mood. I glance at my Steam library and decide, you know what? I'm gonna play some Battlefield 6. At the end of my hour and some change play session, I felt defeated and tired. In fact, I even got a slight headache from the whole thing. Nothing that a couple ibuprofen tablets couldn't fix, but I still felt defeated after that playtime. How come? That whole play session, I was irritated and angry. I had no reason to go into Battlefield 6 already ticked off, and yet it felt like I went into it preemptively angry with how quickly I got annoyed. Stupid teammates, sweaty enemies, joining games in progress when it's clear the game is trying to put me on the losing side. It was all bad. I went into Battlefield 6 that night with a smile, and I exited Battlefield 6 tired, feeling bad that I got as angry at the game as I did, and I even began to question why I played that game to begin with. Hell, it's not even the first time I felt defeated from playing Battlefield 6. Though, if I'm semi-frequently having moments where I'm not having a good time with Battlefield 6, why am I continuing to play it? That logic is what made me quit War Thunder years ago. I wasn't having a good time anymore after I got stuck at the US Tier 3, Tier 4 aircraft tree, so I stopped playing. But with Battlefield 6, no matter how many times I yell at my monitor, cursing at enemies, expressing disappointment in my teammates, questioning how someone can be so disgustingly sweaty in their playstyle, I still find myself playing the game. Every now and then, I have amazing play sessions where the stars align and I get banger after banger match. I rank up a bunch of weapons and unlock a ton of attachments. My teammates all have IQ numbers that are larger than their shoe sizes. Those play sessions feel amazing. But is it worth it? Is it worth it to essentially gamble and roll the dice as to whether my play session will be a good or a bad one? The odds are kinda shit, frankly. Yeah, I may get a set of absolute god lobbies, but more often than not, I'm gonna get enough bad lobbies too that overall, my gaming session will be a mixed bag. Why did a bad night on Battlefield 6 suddenly turn me into a video game philosopher for a bit? Why is it that gaming sessions on Battlefield 6 feel like a gamble? Why don't I view other games in this lens? Whenever I boot up something like Horizon Modern Warfare, I can say that I've had great gaming sessions way more often than bad ones. When I really think about it, I'm still gambling on whether I have a good or bad time with HMW, but the odds are way more in my favor. Whereas with Battlefield 6, the odds are, to put it lightly, not in my favor. If I want to boot up PCSX2 and play some old Ace Combat games, yeah, there's every possibility I could run into issues with either the emulator or one of the games, but the odds of me having a bad time on something like Ace Combat 4, 5, or 0 are next to none. I still love playing video games. Hell, I'll probably still be playing them in whatever retirement home I wind up in when I'm old, assuming retirement will still be a thing by then. But days like these make me question why I play certain games. And then it hit me. It's the players. I thought about it for a bit, and it all started to make sense. Whenever I boot up Horizon Modern Warfare, I intentionally look for lobbies with no players in them, just me and some bots. Whenever I boot up an Ace Combat game on PCSX2, I'm playing a purely single-player experience, custom tailored to what I'm in the mood for by being able to choose the difficulty level. There's a certain predictability that comes with experiences like that. There's comfort in knowing that there's a constant that can't be changed. Or if it can be changed, it can be done so on my terms, not someone else's. Whereas with a game like Battlefield 6, if the enemy wants to put me in a bad mood for the night, they're gonna put me in a bad mood for the night. I can get lucky and be matched with enemies who are looking to just chill out, vibe, and not take things too seriously like me, but I can also get unlucky and encounter people that are treating each match like money's on the line. Whenever I get done with work or college classes for the day, more often than not, I'm not looking to sweat. I already gotta dedicate enough brain power to getting through work or my classes as it is. I'm already left a husk of my former self when being forced to interact with customers for 8 hours straight, or being forced to learn about shit that I really, genuinely, honestly do not give a flying about. So for me to come home from work or classes, boot up something like Battlefield 6, hoping to enjoy the free time that I have, only to be met with teammates that can't hit the broadside of a barn, enemies acting as if there's a bounty on me personally, the game working against me by putting me in games in progress on the losing team that's getting decimated, all while I'm just trying to have a good time with the game, I can't help but to question why I take that gamble sometimes. Interacting with other humans can be an amazing part of life, but it can also be one of the worst parts of life. Trust me, I work retail. I know a thing or two about how painful interacting with other human beings can be. So to be faced with the equivalent of that in the form of players in an online game being just the absolute worst at times, Can you see why I sometimes question why I still play this game? I gotta ask, do you feel the same way? Do you feel like as you get older, you gradually get less and less patient with PvP? Because when I was a preteen/teenager, I could put up with the annoyances of PvP stuff for long stretches of time. I could easily do a multi-hour gaming session of Black Ops 2 back then, even if the lobbies throughout the day were mixed in terms of how good versus bad they were. But nowadays, if the people I'm being matched up with are annoying, bad, sweaty, whatever, the most I can do is an hour and some change before I'm so fed up that I stop. Sometimes even less than that. Compare that to a single player or PvE experience where I can find myself gaming for multiple hours if I have the time to do so. So it's the players. It's 100% the players. But if that's the case, pardon me for sounding like a broken record here, but why do I still play Battlefield 6 at times? The closest I can get to a PvE experience with this game is Casual Breakthrough, where the lobby is part human players, part bots. And back when the game first launched, I remember intentionally hopping into low player count Portal servers back when you didn't need a certain number of human players to start a match. Not for the easy progression grinding, although that was certainly a benefit, but since I was fighting with and against primarily bots, I felt like I could enjoy the game how I wanted to. Yeah, the bots aren't pushovers. They can absolutely rock your shit if you're not careful, but they aren't as annoyingly sweaty as some players can be. I think the reason why I still play this game is because beneath all the annoyances that come with interacting with other players, Battlefield 6 is a good game. I recognize that may be a bit of a controversial thing to say right now, given the game is in some hot water in regards to content, but I do think the game is solid. It may be that I need to rethink how I approach multiplayer PvP games moving forward. I may need to think of it as me literally gambling. I'm gambling my free time for the day on this game, where I may get lucky or unlucky. Some days I may hit it big and I get multiple amazing lobbies. Other days I may be entirely SOL and get my ass handed to me. If I'm not feeling like going to the casino, I'll take my currency, said currency being my free time, elsewhere. Somewhere that I know I'll be able to have a good time. Of course, this isn't a silver bullet. Like I said earlier, it's entirely possible that something like old Ace Combat games or other single player or PvE experiences can give me trouble. But the likelihood of me walking out of an experience like that feeling bad is way lower than me walking out of a PvP experience feeling bad. Does this mean I'm gonna stop playing PvP stuff altogether? No, I'm still gonna play games like Battlefield 6. It may not be a super common thing I get into nowadays, at least in comparison to how often I do PvP stuff when I was younger, but I'll still have those itches that'll need scratching. One thing that I find really helps when it comes to keeping me in a good mood is having a friend or two join me. A little bit ago, I actually dove back into For Honor with a friend of mine from work. I had an absolute blast just talking about whatever with that friend while I got to hear Incredibilis from my Centurion again. Games are infinitely better when you get to experience them with friends. Problem is, since I'm an introvert, I like to fly solo the majority of the time, so I don't get that experience a whole lot. The answer to this problem is to play with friends more often, but my social battery, man. Plus, being by myself is comforting. I get to choose how I want to spend my time. I can pause, change games, do whatever on a whim if I want to, you know? At the end of the day, if I experience more fun than pain playing a game, if that fun to pain ratio is in favor of the former, then I'm gonna keep playing the game. If it turns into a War Thunder-esque situation though, where playing each round of whatever game I'm playing is the equivalent of inflicting CBT on myself, I'm gonna stop. You know, now that I think about it, I wonder why people keep playing video games they hate. I know I've been harping on War Thunder for a bit on this video, but this is the prime example where I've seen everyone and their mother complain about how dogshit the game is, yet they keep playing it. I'm not gonna dive into this topic right now because that's outside the scope of this video, but that could make for a good future video. I recognize this isn't a groundbreaking question I'm asking. This topic has been talked about before on YouTube, but I may throw in my 2 cents about this at some point in the future. So, what have we learned? Play video games that you love, put down video games that you hate. Humans are truly awful creatures at times. They ruin everything. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed now. Stay safe, stay healthy, and peace out.